And we're back. And these next two issues kind of deal with pretty much outlaws.
Yeah.
Outlaws and mercenaries in the DC universe, and maybe some misunderstood characters.
Yeah, two guys who walk very fine lines between good and evil.
Oh, definitely do. There's not much more you can say about it than that. Deathstroke number 2, Professional Part 2, Band of Brothers. Someone appears to be going after Slade's little merry band of hired guns, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
Hired guns, soldiers of fortune.
Yeah.
Someone's trying to take them all out. For what end? Don't really know.
Yeah, it sounds like they crossed the wrong person
Right.
at some point in their careers. Because we know Wintergreen was held hostage for a while.
Yes.
We know at least one of Deathstroke's old colleagues, Rax, was it?
Yes.
The black guy has already been killed by two assassins that Deathstroke ended up killing himself. So can't really interrogate them if they're already dead. But so it'll be interesting to see, and that's something that Matthew Bland mentioned in the previous issue. After he knew that Deathstroke got the Icon suit, he said, "Oh man, you must have ticked off the wrong person to get you back into that outfit."
Yes.
So
this issue went back and forth with a lot of past and present. And one of the flashbacks we saw, I believe it's Deathstroke's daughter that was hidden all those years.
Yeah, Rose.
Rose?
Yep, who we know probably more classically as the Ravager.
Okay.
Throughout sort of late Teen Titans era and also New 52 as well.
Yes. She was there. Also, Deathstroke has a son.
Yep, two sons. Grant ran off in the last issue, and Joey said, "Oh, Grant said he's never coming back." And and then also Joey, who we know as probably best as Jericho from the Teen Titans. And this one, we see that Joey's just been kidnapped. Deathstroke's wife, Adeline, comes home to find, a photo of him hostage and the words "Call me Deathstroke," and of course she doesn't seem to know who or what Deathstroke is.
Right.
And she seems to be under the impression that Deathstroke is a person who took Joey. As if saying "Call me," and then Deathstroke is a signature, not "Call me Deathstroke." So it'll be. So it sounds like she might end up going after Slade inadvertently in these flashbacks to try and get Joey back, and of course. This probably leads to Joey getting his throat slit, which we've already seen in one of the flashback images, and that leads to him being mute and leads into him being Jericho. So,
what do you feel is some of the reasons that we're getting so much flashbacks with Deathstroke? Is it kind of to reshape his origin so they have a more of a concise version of Slade, or are we just getting it because it's filler?
I think it's to help maybe both revamp his origin and also to help new readers get into him. I mean, bear in mind, Deathstroke's been around since the 80s. He's had a lot of stuff going on. I mean, he's had all these kids. He's fought lots of different superheroes. I think it's to help keep him together. I mean, to help new readers understand, this is kid number 1, this is kid number 2, this is kid number 3, and their stories too, because their stories usually end up relating to modern Deathstroke.
The bar scene when Frederick is serving Wintergreen and Slade, and Frederick is the one that spills all the information about, he sold out because all you guys had your fortunes. I'm the cripple that's got to scrape by. Well, we find out that isn't Deathstroke. That was someone hired to play Deathstroke.
Yeah, because Deathstroke is off in Windsor, Ontario, off meeting with Dr. Icon, which I do have to say, now we know Windsor, Ontario is protected by a superhero.
Yes, Dr. Icon made a suit.
Yeah, we can put that on the map. Say aliens do not invade here. This is protected by a superhero.
Well, how many blocks does he protect?
Deathstroke mentions it's like 12 square blocks or something, because he makes some insult like, you protect 12 square blocks
Right.
right away, right across this river from a major American city. It's sort of a hilarious, insult to anybody from Windsor, Ontario. But
Right.
it also establishes his character. He's not that nice of a guy.
No, he isn't. And as a matter of fact, when Frederick and Wintergreen and Slade, they went to pick up a colleague of theirs. It turned out to be Rose's mother, I think.
Yeah.
And is it implied Rose shot Frederick, and that's why he's crippled, shot him right in the stomach. Did Deathstroke kill his mother, or Rose's mother?
Yeah.
Is that something, was it implied? Because they say, what do you do? What did you do? What did you do?
Yeah.
And he comes out and his katana sword, it has blood all over it.
Yeah.
And I was unclear on that.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't really be surprised.
Did they get in a fight and maybe
Yeah.
in the course of it, he killed
Well,
her?
and this wouldn't be Adeline either, so it would be a mistress for Deathstroke too.
Right.
So maybe he's just, I want to say, tying up loose ends, but
Right.
And it sounds kind of like one of their first interactions with Rose, because Wintergreen looks pretty surprised to see her, and
the fact that
surprised
she had silver hair.
yeah, and the fact that she she would shoot
Right.
Frederick like that.
What was a 10-year-old doing with a gun? Shooting you in the stomach is
Yeah.
what she was doing.
Yeah.
Deathstroke, character that is not a very nice character to be around. These issues so far has kind of reaffirmed that. I wonder, what do we get in the future for Deathstroke? What do you think we're going to see in future issues?
Well, it'll be interesting too, because when Wintergreen's going through is Deathstroke's phone at the very end, and he
Yes.
finds those termination contracts, and he mentions that he gets a lot of junk mail too, which
Yes.
I had to enjoy. Even Deathstroke gets
Right.
junk mail, and he does find one of those contracts is for the now older version of Rose,
Yes.
who's wearing kind of the classic Ravager outfit,
Yes.
and she's one of the potential hits for Deathstroke. So it'll be interesting to see if someone's trying to take her out, or they're trying to maybe get a hold of her, because
Right.
she does share Deathstroke's genes.
Yes.
She has a lot of his abilities. It's again, we say it time and again, it's double crossing and triple crossing, and
Yes,
so many
exactly.
layers going on. So there's a lot of layers that have to be pulled back
Yes.
on this.
And we'll see what happens in future issues of Deathstroke, as Ravager looks like she will be reintroduced here in the next issue or so. Red Hood and the Outlaws #2, Dark Trinity Part 2, Paradise Lost. Well, we find out what was in the train that was so important to Black Mask. It wasn't a gun, it wasn't a secret weapon, but it was a weapon. It looks like to be a Superman clone.
Yeah, and as we've seen with Superman clones before, they don't always hold up quite so well when they come out of the tube.
No.
Things start to go a little backwards. So it
They
looks
go
like
a little bizarre.
yeah. So it looks like we're gonna get Bizarro pretty soon in this series.
How would he even know that there would be a clone of Superman on the train?
Who knows? It sounds like Black Mask has a lot of connections, and he did. He mentioned in one of the previous issues that the virus he used on the mayor was the TO virus.
Yes.
So maybe he's, communicating with Dr. T.O. Morrow. Maybe T.O. Morrow's trying to one-up Lex Luthor. Maybe
Right.
take one of Luthor's weapons off the board. Who knows? I don't know. And it'll be interesting to see what he wants to do with Bizarro, too.
Yes.
Presumably use him as like an enforcer or just
I
a
would think
weapon.
so.
that's, heck, it's a clone of one of those
Isn't that though
powerful
kind of like
characters.
taking a sledgehammer to swat a fly? And Bizarro's pretty powerful.
It's the Black Mask.
That-
he did try to blow up an orphanage that he thought was full of kids.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Black Mask.
Yeah.
Well, now we know why Artemis was at the train. She was looking for an ancient weapon that she feels is rightfully hers.
Yeah, she's looking for the Bow of Ra, which is a weapon she claims could potentially wipe out the planet. So the fact that
Wow.
she wants it is kind of scary.
Right.
Essentially, she tried to get the bow when she was a kid, and then, or not a kid, but a teenager.
Right,
She was
yes.
16. And the Egyptian goddess of death, Nephthys, which I think I'm pronouncing right, ends up taking it as hers. Says the weapon has to choose you.
Right.
And so maybe it's a good thing she didn't get the bow of Ra, because
Right.
who knows what a 16-year-old would do with a
Oh, yeah.
world-ending thing. But it is interesting that she would be looking for something that specific and that powerful on a train.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that can't be a coincidence. It can't be a mistake.
Right.
It makes me wonder, did she get lured there? I mean, that would be something very easy to say to her, to feed her information that the one thing she's always been looking for is right in this location. That's really confusing. And throughout a lot of that book, I was trying to think, okay, is the Bow of Ra somehow connected to Bizarro?
Right.
Or the Superman clone who will be Bizarro very soon?
We'll just call him Bizarro now because we know he's going to be Bizarro because DC, when they had talked about DC Rebirth, Red Hood and the Outlaws, on the cover of the very first Red Hood and the Outlaws Rebirth was Artemis, Red Hood, and Bizarro.
Yeah.
We know that's coming. So we're not trying to spoil anything, but it is coming.
Yeah. Pre-Bizarro.
Yeah.
Let's call him
Pre-Bizarro.
Pre-Bizarro.
Yeah, Bizarro.
Pre-Bizarro.
I don't mean to Bizarro over this.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Well, Red Hood and Artemis, they start fighting, and they have a lot of banter back and forth. They don't get along at all at first, but as they start fighting, they start having a grudging respect for one another. And I think that might be in part, as you had said, because of who they are mentored by and how they feel that they're kind of being oppressed by just underneath the shadow of that with Red Hood, Batman, and Artemis, Wonder Woman. But just the way they went back and forth was very snippy and it was hilarious to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was really funny for, Red Hood trying to fight this woman who he mentions in a lot of his internal dialogue is really scary.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, and she figures out that he's essentially undercover for Black Mask.
Yes.
She realizes that he's pulling his punches. And so, I mean, he really doesn't have much choice but to let her in on this. It's sort of like a forced alliance.
It is.
Almost, at this point. And it is, they kind of make it seem like they're two heroes who are trying to make their own name, but they do have essentially some other more well-established hero peering right over their shoulder all the time. And they mention in this that Artemis is not a fan of Diana. I mean, she's not exactly. It sounds like she's not on great terms with her, which she classically hasn't been. I mean, they've been allies for a long time, but not exactly friends necessarily.
Well, I think the word frenemies was used in that issue. I could be wrong.
Probably,
but frenemies, I know by reading all these comics, frenemies was used somewhere. Don't know if it was in this issue or not, but it was used. Did Black Mask at the end figure out that Red Hood was undercover as well?
It'll be interesting to see, because he did very conspicuously, when they pulled the train car up via helicopter, and he has that kind of where he's standing on top of the train car and talking down to him. And he phrases it like, hey, good job. You did a really great job. You got her off my tail. Mission accomplished. But, I mean, when he says that, it's almost just like he's not saying
almost
that I know.
condescending.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Red Hood did just spend however many minutes behind a rock with a Cal who he was trying to fight a few minutes before, after just telling all the other guys, hey, don't shoot her, I can handle this.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Shooting.
I mean, I feel kind of like Black Mask might know from the beginning. That might be the reason why he brought him in. I mean, Black Mask is presumably a pretty smart guy.
Right.
If he hasn't figured it out at this point, he probably should have.
Oh.
So, we'll see.
This is a train ride right now of who is going to get to what first.
Yeah.
Red Hood and the Outlaws #2 was fun. And anytime you can get banter between, there's always the fight before the friends, as Raptar had said in his Nightwing. Hey, can we skip the customary we got to fight first and then we can be friends. That just is what happened in this issue.
Yeah.
I think Black Mask does know something's going on, and he's playing it close to the vest. But with the Superman powered with the Pizarro, we'll see what in this issue if he turns quickly, and we get the goofy Bizarro that kind of this motley crew of like Three Stooges. Even though they are deadly, the characters are deadly, but there's going to be some bonding issues, to say the least.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how, I mean, assuming they do really form a team, how are they going to control Bizarro?
Right.
How do you control a guy who does everything backwards?
Right, because they can't even control themselves.
Yeah,
They can't.
yeah,
And I think that's what's fun. That's why they're outlaws. They're not Justice League. They're not Titans. Red Hood and the Outlaws.
yeah.
That'll be one of the fun ones to look at. Mm-hmm. And we're going to take our final break. And when we come back, we will discuss All-Star Batman #2 and Batgirl and the Birds of Prey #2. We'll be back in just a moment.